What's going on YouTube? Bryce Builds It All here, your favorite aircraft mechanic, IA, and Part 147 instructor. And this video is going to be about why now, right now, is the perfect time to get your A&P certificate. Stick around. So I'm going to try to make this video without hyping it up too much because that's not my intention. My intention is just to talk about being an aircraft mechanic and why now is a good time to start on your pathway to becoming an aircraft mechanic if that's what you want to do. So the first thing I want to mention is that a lot of the 147 schools that are community colleges, I'm in Texas, so those are the schools that I know, places like St. Philip's College, TSTC, Tarrant County Community College, I'm sure there's more. They start their cohorts in the spring and in the fall. So that means there's going to be a cohort starting in August. The program will begin. It's sort of very much a sequential thing. Once you get started, you have to run all the way through. It's really hard to try to start in the middle and then go back to the beginning. It's very good to start at the very beginning and then run all the way through. You're going to finish up a lot faster. But a lot of those schools are starting their cohorts in August. So if you want to register for a 147 school and you've kind of been on the fence about it, you might want to start making some calls. I know the school that I teach at, I never mentioned them by name, but we are in San Antonio and we are not Hallmark College. The school that I teach at, we're already full for the fall and we're already full for spring of 2025. So keep that in mind. But a lot of your schools are starting their cohorts. Private institutions like Hallmark, AIM, US Aviation Academy, some of the others, they start their cohorts a little different. That just means the group of students. They might start them every 4 months or every 6 months. It depends, and they're a little easier to start whenever you're ready, as opposed to community colleges like where I'm at, where we start every spring and every fall. That's just how it is. We can't start any other sequence because it won't work with our contact hours and the way our schools are loaded up. But now is the perfect time to start going to school for it. If you're thinking about going for it, if you're not ready yet, maybe you want to do like associate's degree classes or something like that first. Spring is also a really good time, so January is also a really good time to start. The programs will take you anywhere from 12 to 18 months, 12 months being some of your accelerated private institutions and 18 months to 19 months being your community colleges. The reason community colleges are longer is because we have to take breaks in between the the spring semester and the fall semester, and also a short break in between summer and fall and summer and spring. It's just how it is. So they end up being a little bit longer than the private institutions, which don't have those breaks. You start, you go all the way through. Just putting that out there. But that's the first thing, schooling. Everyone's getting ready to start new cohorts. Now's a good time for it, obviously. The second thing is the job market is still very in demand for aircraft mechanics. If you're worried about, man, is there going to be a job for me when I finish school? Is there going to be something for me to do? The answer is still yes. We are still experiencing an exodus of people, if you will, retiring from their 20, 30-year careers, and it's leaving a little bit of a hole behind for people to come in and fill that gap. The FAA has put out several articles on this. It's not just pilots, it is also mechanics, and they're talking about the amount of people getting ready to retire in the next 5 to 10 years, and the hole that's going to leave behind because there's not enough qualified A&Ps coming in. When I say qualified A&Ps, I mean people qualified with an A&P. There's not enough people coming in to fill the hole, so now is a really good time to get that A&P certificate and go into it. If you're worried that schooling is expensive, I understand. A lot of the 147 programs that are private are anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000. The community colleges, you have to be in district, but in-district tuition is considerably less. It can cost between $10,000 and $20,000, but that's because the state is picking up 2/3 of the bill. After tuition assistance, after all that kind of stuff, you can end up a lot cheaper than that, but it is going to take you a little bit longer. You do have to be in district. If you're out of district, you're not going to have the state paying 2/3 of the bill, and it's going to be very expensive. Just putting that out there. If you're worried about that cost, and you want to get started right now, you can always go the 30-month practical experience route, which is you go get a job, hopefully somewhere that offers an apprentice program, and you work a job in aviation as an aircraft mechanic for 30 months with hands-on experience, and then you can go to the FSDO and get signed off to test, and at that point, it's just self-study for the test. I always tell people, if you're going the 30-month practical experience route, it's probably a good idea to do something like an accelerated crash course like Baker School of Aeronautics. They're assuming you're already signed off for your A&P to test. You're just preparing for the test, and all that crash course is 2 weeks devoted to what they're going to be able to test you over, and it's kind of like a sure thing. Like, they guarantee that you will pass the O&P. If you don't, they will retrain you free of charge until you do pass the O&P. So just consider that. If you don't want to go to school and you want to start working immediately, the 30-month practical experience route is there. However, like I said, I would suggest you go somewhere that has an apprentice program where they're going to be doing training as well, not just throwing you to the wolves. It's very easy once you get working and get making money to get distracted from actually getting the A&P and then never doing it. The benefit of getting the A&P, obviously, is that you can transfer that to any place you want to go work. That being said, with the job market, wages are still really high. Airlines are still paying people $30 to $35 an hour. Your MROs, your overhaul facilities, those kinds of places are still paying people $25 to $30 an hour, $20 to $25 an hour. The wages are still very high because there's still a high demand for aircraft mechanics. Even when it gets to GA, have always been a GA guy. I work with a lot of retired Boeing and airline employees that are now teachers like I am. But being a GA guy myself, we're seeing it in GA really bad. There's a lot of people retiring out of GA. I obviously am an IA, and a lot of people that are retiring are IAs, so my phone is ringing all the time. People trying to get me to come do their annuals, people trying to get me to come do their work for them because their mechanic isn't doing it anymore, and I just don't have the time or the availability with my day job. I could probably just ramp up my business on the side and do that, but I love teaching. I like the schedule it gives me, so I'm not necessarily going to do that. People ask me all the time, well, why don't you just quit your day job and do this? Because it's a lot of work in a hangar that isn't air conditioned in the summer and isn't heated in the winter, and it can be miserable. And as much as I love it, I like doing it on the side for extra money, not as my day job, depending on putting food on the table, if you will. But like I said, wages are still really high. Demand for employees is still really high. It's still it's always going to be a very rewarding career to get into. It's something I've always loved doing. And like I said, there's no better time to start than right now. I'm not trying to hype it up too much. I'm not trying to make it sound like a golden opportunity, if you will. But, a lot of people ask me that question in comments. They're like, what should I do? When should I start? And that kind of thing. And really the answer is you should start anytime. But if you're wanting to go to a community college, like I said, they're going to be starting their cohorts here pretty quick. So you want to try to get registered for those. And with the job demand, with the amount of people retiring, you're going to want to strike while that iron's hot. You're not going to want to wait until it's all filled up and everybody's been hired and now the job market has kind of gone down on demand and you missed out on a golden opportunity to snag one of those really high-paying jobs, if you will. So that being said, not to be that guy, I've done a lot of videos on this. If you have any questions, if this is one of your first videos, I've got a whole playlist. It's called So You Want an A&P. Make sure you go check it out. I've done videos on actually getting your A&P, the testing process, a couple of tutorials, all kinds of stuff. What it's like being an aircraft mechanic. I also do videos working on general aviation aircraft on the side about different topics and different things as they've come up in my life. So if you want to watch those videos as well. But before you ask me any questions here, make sure you go back and check my catalog and see what kind of other videos I have done. I guess I'm going to leave it there. I'll keep it really short. I think I've said everything I need to say. Like I said, I don't want to hype it up too much or have you thinking like this is just the most incredible thing since sliced bread. But it's a very rewarding career. I love what I do. Everyone I work with loves what I do. And if you're thinking about doing it, it's what you're passionate about, go for it. Now's the time to do it. Last thing I will leave you with before I send my outro is, I hope you really like my shirt. My wife got it for me from Five Below. It says crop duster. Leave the smell behind. Good stuff. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave us a like, leave us a comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and join the Discord. If you're curious what the Discord is, it's just a public server where people who are testing and whatnot share resources, share their stories, share what the test was like, all that kind of stuff. If that interests you, go ahead and go join that. And as always, go build something and be easy.